Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers. Along with Ryan Zolik, Greg Elsing, we have Mike Gerlach with us tonight, the winner down in Nashville, Illinois, the Pullers Championship. So congratulations, Mike.
Thanks, John. Yep, it was a fun night Saturday night for sure.
Great weekend down there for you guys.
Yep.
I think
It's they've been really struggling with their weather down there for even the farming. They still, the crops aren't in the ground there, and they just had rain after rain after rain. So they had the track covered for Friday night, and they actually did get a shower, 5 o'clock or so, and they pushed the time back a little bit to start, and then they got the show in. But then Saturday night they had a huge turnout of people. It was a great show, great track, and everything else. So they should be pretty happy with that.
good. It's a long ways down there too, right?
It's all 6 hours for us, and we got interstate most of the way. Yes, but
it's for me it was longer than going to Louisville.
Yeah,
when I went a couple years ago. Yeah,
you're 2.5 hours still south of Champaign, I believe, in that range.
Really?
Like when it's down there.
Yep. I think Badger State was pretty well represented down there, Mike, right?
Every Badger State tractor run well. Punky, his team, they got a first and a third, I believe, and they won their overall weekend. Fritz Brothers had a really good run going. They had a little mechanical issue their Friday night, but they ran good, and Chuck ran good, and then Josh, he was, I think he got second in overall. He was right up there. He wasn't too far behind to get first place of the overall thing. So he had 2 good runs also.
Yeah, Josh needed just a little bit better run Saturday night. He finished a couple places short of getting past the 618 Motorsports to get the weekend win. But still two great passes for the weekend.
Yep. Who got the win for the Limited Pro?
618 Motorsports. Ended up getting by.
Yep.
It was 1 point difference between so the way they did it was like golf. If you finished first, you got 1 point, and then if you got a second, the next night you got 3 points total, and if there was a tie, then it was total distance.
Okay.
And we did have to go to total distance in the Super Farm.
Oh, really?
Yep. And it came down to 3 feet between Vinny's and the Scream Norwegian.
Oh, really? So Vinny's probably got second then for the weekend?
Yeah. Yep.
I think Vinny's, they won Saturday night.
They won Saturday night, but it was and Scream Norwegian won Friday night, and it was like a 3 or 4 foot difference when you add them together.
Really? That's pretty cool.
And then Rowan's just missed out on the pro stocks by 1 point total.
Oh, really? So how did he do Saturday night?
He won. He was he swept the top 2 positions.
Okay, because then Friday night he was like 5th or 6th, right?
Yeah, that if the 8360 would have won Saturday night, then he would have got, I think, the weekend. But
that's pretty cool. Good to have all the Badger State guys right down in there.
Yeah, I believe Saturday night with pro stocks and Lemke's was 4th, so we had 3 out of the top 5 pro stocks Saturday night.
Yeah, cool.
And I had a chance to talk with the Screaming Norwegian team because they weren't for sure of their schedule tonight. And I do apologize to them. We had some technical difficulties with their recordings from the pits. Won't be able to use tonight.
Okay.
But we'll get them back on here shortly.
Punky messed up the camera or what?
Yeah, we'll just blame on him because he did talk on camera. Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are the Friday night passes, and then you'll see the difference in the track once we get back to the Saturday night. Just a lot more moisture, like Mike said, in the track.
on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just with the rain delay and everything else Friday night, they just didn't have time to work it like they probably wanted to. But like I said before, it was the same for everybody. So you just like us, our situation, we just didn't adjust to it as well as some of the other guys did. We should have been up a gear and moved some weight back, and the other guys did a better job at that than we did.
Right. Usually, you don't move
during
a
the
lot
front
of
end
weight,
Saturday
Mike?
night. Like here's the Saturday night pass.
Yeah, a lot more ground speed too. I mean, you could tell as soon as you let the clutch out, everybody's tractor just hooked up and you was gone. So you could feel it was a good run.
Yeah. You usually don't move a lot of weight, though, do you?
We
Mike?
don't. I don't know. We've done it before, and it kind of hurts us. We go too much, but Friday night we should have been able to move quite a bit more. But that's one thing we got to learn is how to adjust to some of these tracks that might not be as bitey as some. How to adjust to it. That's one thing we need to do better. Whether it's weight, gears, or driver ability, or whatever it is. So that's one thing. A goal this year for us is to adjust to different tracks better.
Yep. That's tough. You move a little bit and it's too much.
Yeah, I heard some guys move 400 pounds there the other night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
That's a lot.
it's a lot. It sounds like a lot, but when they did it, it made a difference.
Yeah.
Even some of the pro stock guys were trying to move some weight back on Friday night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to try. But
Yeah.
so that's how it goes, right?
Yep. No, that's just like I said. That who does the better job of adjusting to them. That's how you win and win the points titles. You just adjust to the tracks better, and
it's not always just weight. Sometimes it's tire pressure and a gear, right?
Yep.
Hard track. Hard track, harder tires. What they used to say. I don't know if that's true anymore, though.
I don't know either, Greg. You just never know, but it was a fun time down there. Their hospitality is really good. I mean, they greet you at the gate. We got down there about 9:30 Thursday night, and they met us there and parked and had a nice meal there Saturday afternoon, and then they had a kids pedal tractor pull, so one of our grandkids did that. Oh, some other things. I mean, they really all their workers and volunteers and everything else, they just do a great job of making you feel comfortable down there. So that's makes it nice going down there that far.
Right. I was hoping to go down myself, but I just couldn't. Robbie had some parts come. They didn't show up yet. They just got here now. So,
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes, right?
Yep. That's all you can do. But, that the crowd was a little smaller there Friday night just because of the weather, but they really made up for it Saturday night. It was a packed house when they started.
Good.
Yep. Everybody put on a good show.
And they treat you right there too. And when I was down there, they had to you could go wash your tractor or whatever. They had.
Yep.
Stuff
There's guys did that Saturday because it was pretty muddy around the pits there Friday night. But yeah, they were letting them do whatever you need. I did notice too. There's a couple guys had to work on their tractors, so they had their shop open. There's a couple guys in there. I'm not sure what they were doing, but they help you work on your tractor if needed, this and that. So they're really very accommodating.
Yep. It was a great pull when we went down to. I had a lot of fun there. We were there for 2 nights, or 3 days and stuff. When we were a couple years ago, but I will try to get back to it. I do know that, and you've been to it almost like 3 or 4 years in a row, have you, Mike?
This is our second year, yeah, and we've gone down to the pull in the fall too, and they do things the same way in the fall. Yep.
Is that
I believe that's
a silver series.
It's a PPL hook then.
Yep, PPL hook with
Yep.
And you kind of did the same thing as last year, Mike, right? Where we
did. We
like Friday night you just had struggled a little bit.
Yep.
And then Saturday night you won it.
Yep, that's correct. So
last year on Friday night there was a water line or something that came off.
We were in a hurry to get the motor in, and then we were still planting corn, and we just made a mistake with our water lines, and luckily it didn't hurt nothing, and we was able to figure that out, and seemed to be fine after that. So
hooked it back up and ran a lot better, didn't it?
Yes, it does. It likes the water.
Yep, they do. They do.
Yeah, and then I know we had a little tire blowout out on the trailer on the way home Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
So it was, like I said, we had a tire blowout in the trailer, and luckily we found a guy to come and fix that. So that put us back a little bit for getting home. But on being on a Sunday, we were a little leery of someone helping us. But one of them things.
Yep. Yep. Not as bad as John Cooch coming home from Louisville blowing the motor in his truck.
Yeah, he definitely had a rough one there.
He did.
On the way down, it rained pretty hard down there too, and a little hail. And they actually had a little hail down there in Nashville Friday night. I don't know, about 4 or 5 o'clock for a while, and it was pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hail
Well,
there,
yeah,
so.
just about when St. Louis is only about 40-ish, 45 minutes to the west of where we were, and they had tornadoes rolling through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good you avoided that weather because there was a lot of bad stuff in the news I seen. Even in Wisconsin here, it was bad that weekend.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Thursday night we had all those tornadoes up here, and did you get some damage size hail Thursday, Greg, that rolled through?
A little hail, but nothing bad. But up by Mayville, up north, by Jimmy Lutke and Teresa and all that up there, they did get some bad stuff. You watched it on the news, and it was just red there the whole time for a long time. It didn't move. It did not move. Yep. But that's life we're living in. It don't rain normal anymore, right?
No, the weather's really extreme. Either like today, it's just right now it's really windy outside, and the guys are trying to finish baling hay here tonight. And no, the weather is it's either real extreme or nothing. It just doesn't do a normal rain pattern anymore.
Yeah, we don't even know what a good one-day soaker is anymore, right?
It's supposed to be maybe something coming in tonight or tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah. Sounds like tomorrow it's happening for sure.
Yep.
So.
But the
What's
temperatures
your,
are going to be like really low compared to the last couple of weeks.
Right.
Yep.
Back on the cooler
Did we
side.
lose John?
Yeah, he must. Yeah, and I think he was having some internet issues. So we'll see if he pops back in here.
Yep. Well, just plans for the summer, Mike. You guys are going to the big pull in Farley, right?
Yeah, we're going to Farley and all the Badger States, of course. The Badger State stuff is so much fun for us. So many people there, and all our grandkids get to go, and it's just a great time, and they just enjoy going. They're meeting some friends there, the little ones, and it's just we're just going to do that and maybe try to get to Toma if we can make it. Otherwise, everything Badger State and Farley. Yep.
Sounds like that Farley pull would be pretty cool. A lot of people there.
Yeah.
Too bad it falls on the same weekend as Macville, though, right?
Yeah, this schedule, it's got to be a nightmare for anyone trying to schedule a pull or sleds or whatever it is. There's just so many organizations out there, and so everyone wants a tractor pull, every weekend anymore. And I just can't imagine trying to figure all that out. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't care what class you're in. You could go pulling in the summer almost every night of the week if you wanted to travel.
If you want to travel a little bit, there's something going on. So
yeah,
it's good that the Macville people found a place to pull and a date to pull and not have anything. So I'm glad they're able to do something.
Yep.
It's still going to be a good show.
It's still going to be a good show. Let's hope. I'm that's a fun pull for us in the first weekend. The good thing is we're staying at a casino there now, next to Seymour.
Well, if you walk out of there with more money than you walked in,
hopefully, right? Yeah, that's a good thing, right? That's the plan, right? Yeah. How's John doing? You back?
I don't know. We'll find out.
It's technology, John.
Yep.
It's technology tonight. Very frustrating.
But one thing up there with Macville this year, everyone won't really know what to expect on that track because, as far as I know, none of the no one there has pulled on it. So there'll be a clean slate for everyone trying to figure it out.
Yep. They used to have a WTPA pull there years ago, and I've pulled there. It was 20 years ago. That's supposedly the home of the original hamburger, right? So they have this big.
Yeah, I think
hamburger.
Seymour is. Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
That's what they
big
claim.
Hamburger in their town square or whatever. So as a young bunch of guys 30 years ago, Punky, myself, Mark Ruff, we were all drinking at a bar there, and we stole the hamburger, or tried to. Tried to load it on the trailer. It was too heavy. We couldn't get it. We just got out of town. We were better off. That was 30 years ago, though. I bet
You might still have a warrant out if you roll back.
Might be. We never. Yeah, we put it back where it was. We couldn't. Yeah, we never really moved the dang thing, but it was all fun. Yep. But Seymour, it was a good track. It's a racetrack. So you're going to be on a racetrack, and we all know how that goes. But it'll be fun. Roger will do a good job in his crew. He's got a great crew there to work with.
Yeah, we
do it.
Actually ran into Roger down at Nashville this weekend. Seen him, talked to him for a little bit, and they had his banner. He's a sponsor down there too, I believe. He had a banner up there promoting his pole.
Oh, really? Yep. Good. I hope it all works out for him, and I hope it works out for the rest of the guys. We started with our last week. I wasn't able to make it, but they had Lori Schultz on from the Children's Hospital last week and talking about what went on there with the telethon, and that'll be our second pull. Our first pull is coming up, in a week from now. And just the 31st in Saucure, Limner Pros will be there, but Mike, you'll be there, and everybody else hopefully, and hoping to have a good track. We're getting a little rain here. It's been dry. We've been really dry here.
We have two down here. I think it's been this coming Wednesday will be 3 weeks since we've had any rain. Yeah,
we got some last weekend, a little bit, maybe 4/10, over a 24-hour period. But we could. The weird thing for us is the river never went down. Up north, the river stays high, and it kind of backs up our land here a little bit. But that finally went down because they were getting rain up north. But got all the corn in. How about you, Mike? You get it done?
Yeah, we got in. Everything was in right at the end of April, first part of May. So that part went pretty good. It's just wanted some rain to help get out of the ground, but most of it looks pretty good at this point.
Yep. Because you got to have that to keep the tractor on the track, right?
Yes, that's for sure.
You got to get some bushels.
The guys are out just doing our first cutting of hay tonight, so that'll be done for rain. So that looks pretty good, this first crop.
Today's our first day of making hay here too, so the boys are all out at it. So, Mike, what the summer here, and who do you?
The question is probably who can avoid any breakage and everything, but that's such an unknown to anybody. But I don't know. That's a hard one to answer. I think anybody can do anything, and everybody's competitive, and everyone drives good, and I mean it's that's why it's so competitive in our classes anymore.
Right. I think after the winter and watching here what happened down here, I think Josh Dutton's one of the guys should watch out for. Right?
Oh yeah.
He's got her figured out something.
We were razzing a little bit about it, so yeah, he'll be right up there with everybody.
Yep. So the boys were talking about our beer bet that we have with you guys. Who's leading points, so they aren't going to get theirs out till July. So you're going to have to buy the beer all summer. That.
Oh, that's right. Whoever's leading points. Yes, I remember that now. Yeah, that'd be all right. We can do that.
Yep. So the boys and Mike and the guys in his crew have a bet that whoever's leading points has to buy the beer at every event.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So we'll try to hold up our end, I guess.
Yep. So that's all fun, right?
Yeah.
It's all part of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Mike,
go ahead, Ryan.
You help. You guys are a big part of the helping down in Warren at the Joe Davies County Fair too.
Sure. Yeah.
This summer, all these years.
Yep.
Yeah, we did something a little bit different this year. We was able to make arrangements to have the light limited super stocks come down from Utica. And I don't know when the last time they pulled there. It's been many, many years. And there really is a lot of local guys live near Warren. I bet you there's a half a dozen of them. Ed Casper,
Dave
Gene and Rod.
People.
Gene and
Rod
Rod.
Wickman, Aaron Kleckner just lives 15 minutes away, so I kind of looking forward to that. Have some new tractors and new people around, so it'll be fun.
Right. You guys build one of the better tracks I think we pull on in Badger State too. It's all you got good black dirt there and,
Yep.
and you've got to figure it out. And I think it's a good track. I've always liked it.
The only thing I wish is I don't know how you ever get away from it. The track seems to have to go through a transition for the first 4 or 5 tractors. If a person can find a way not to have that happen, that'd be great. But I just don't know how you end up doing that.
I think what some other guys are doing is they invite 5 or 6 local farm tractors or something to come in and do kind of a little pull, like 20 minutes or half hour before the pull starts.
Yep.
And do that. I think that
probably helps better than just pulling the sled down 2 or 3 times with a big tractor. I think actually having some, like you said, so we've talked about that, and that's been something we're gonna try to work on here. So
we got the Brinkmeyer boys right next door. They have
they'll bring 3 or 4 of them.
Farm tractor.
They'll bring 3 or 4 of them because they all want to drive something. So
right,
you could just have a Brinkmeyer Invitational.
Yes, I think we'll do that.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Gary'd be all about that. I'm sure of that, right?
oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, he's fun. We had a good celebration in Warren last year too. Gary's 50th year of being a Badger State member. That was really cool. I thought in Warren.
Yep. No, they did a good job organizing that, and which is well deserved of anyone being there that long.
Yep. 50 consecutive years. That's a big deal. That's as long as Badger State's been around, right?
Right. Yep.
First member till today.
Yep. What was the very first year that was all started? Is that 72 or
74?
74.
I think they pulled a couple of years before that until they really organized.
Mm-hmm.
Was 74. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then they got they made a club and registered it with the state. And I don't know if they registered with the state back then, but in the early 90s when we took it over, we had to do a bunch of state paperwork.
Make everything legit.
Do it. We always tried to be a nonprofit organization, but we couldn't because after so many dollars flow through your checkbook, then you're not a nonprofit, I guess, or something like that, or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and I didn't want to be in trouble with the IRS, and so we just did what they said, and here we are.
Sure.
Yep. So, all good. Yeah, and you can only, like, the money we donated to the Children's Hospital, we had to pay taxes on that one time at one point. Not a lot of people probably realize that. We had to go back 5 years and pay a bunch of taxes on the money we had given the children's hospitals between St. Jude and the American Family one.
Right.
So yeah, but it is what it is, right?
Yep.
Make it work.
Well, what have you heard, Greg? Is majority of the guys going to make it the first pull or two? Is everyone kind of getting things put together for everybody?
Yeah, I've heard pretty good things, and I think the benefit pull, the children's hospital, we've got some guys that I know in the pro stock class and limited pro class that are coming here to do a shakeout run with us. So I think that'll help that a little bit. You get 2 or 3 guys in the class that you usually don't see.
Right.
That it's always fun to pull against new guys, right?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Yeah, we get meet some new faces and see how things are, and you can always say you're the best around until somebody shows up and then beats your butt, right?
There you go, yes. Well, that'll be a busy Saturday night in Baraboo then.
Yep. I'm hoping the weather cooperates and everything is good, so
right.
Big hopes there, and it would be neat to have, I'm not going to name the names because if they don't show up, I don't want them to.
Right.
I've heard four pro stock guys are coming. They usually don't pull with us, so
that'd be good. It's always fun to watch. Like you said, even if you don't compete against them, it's fun to watch someone else.
It is.
Someone else's tractor.
Yep, 100%. They want to show up because they know, we've got some pretty decent running tractors in pro stock, and you can go to a brush pull and make a test pass, and you may think you did really well, but
you don't know what you have nothing to compare it to or how the sled is set or whatever. So yeah.
Right. 100%. Yeah. You go 330 feet. Well, nobody else was there. So, the
Yep.
sled might have just let you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then we're this summer too. We're working on a shootout thing with Bill Smith between Jefferson and Baraboo and Darlington, where the finals will be there. And there's going to be we're going to announce that here in a little bit. I'm going to have Bill on the show. That'll be for the pro stock class. It'll be, and you guys always get a shootout there anyways, but they're doing something for pro stocks because they don't want to. We can't
Like a
come
mini
back
sweep.
and run again.
Right.
Like a mini sweep type deal, Greg.
So, something like that in the dollars. And I'll get Bill on the show here and we'll talk about it. And I'm working on Baraboo and Jefferson a little bit to help add to it some. So I think it'll be a pretty neat thing.
No, that'd be good.
Yeah. It's stuff like that we have to do to, to grow the sport, right?
Right. You got to change things up a little bit and add a little different kind of excitement to it.
Yep. Because you guys in Warren and Darlington does a shootout, and you do it in Warrenton, and I think Brian Saunders is a big part of that, right?
Yep. Yeah. He helps a lot in both places.
Yep. So, like last year, I think it was three guys in the shootout, and you got an extra couple $1,000 to win the shootout, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And I think second and third got something too, didn't they?
Yeah, I think we try to break it down so everybody gets something. At least.
Yeah, if you're coming back, you should get a little something.
Right. Correct.
So guys that are watching maybe don't know what happens is like that night we'd run the limited pros early, first or second class.
Yep.
And at the end of the night, you brought back the top 3 guys.
Right.
For an extra bonus purse and a shootout in a local fair. You guys went out and find sponsorship for it.
Correct. Yep. So it's a fun little thing to do, and it's
yep.
hopefully we can
It
do
adds a little cash in everybody's pocket. You're there, you get another shot at it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Brian's been a great sponsor of Badger State probably for the last 20 years, I think, right?
Yeah, they support not only Poland, but I think even the races in Darlington. They got car races Friday night, and they definitely put a lot of effort into sponsoring different things in the communities around here locally.
Yep.
So we're pretty
And
lucky
Brian and
to have
your
them
dad
now.
were good friends, right?
Yep. Right.
And did a lot of things together. Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. So, but any more videos you got, Ryan, or are we do it good?
So those were all the passes. Those were both Friday and Saturday passes of all the Badger States. So that's like I said, I would have had some really words of encouragement from Punky there. That would have been so inspiring. Unfortunately, it didn't. Something happened on the memory card, so we're missing out on that. So
Yeah, maybe next week you get it figured out or make it work. Or is it not right?
Yeah, or we can
Just have to do it again.
Yep. We'll have to go back down, and I'll tell them you have to do exactly the same way.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Well, he must have figured something out though, because he ran pretty good. He struggled a little bit last year.
Yeah. Yep. They said that they've been struggling, and they did a lot of work over the winter. I think they did some tire stuff too, as well. Worked on that, and kind of back in form, because it's been kind of weird seeing that tractor struggle for a couple summers.
Yep.
Yeah, he was pretty happy all weekend the way the tractor ran. He was pretty excited about it.
Good. They've been good for a long time. It's weird to see them guys not on top of the game there, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So one of the questions I'm going to have for you, Mike, is the new turbo rule and limited pro. Did you feel much difference in the tractor with the newer turbo?
No, I don't think we went backwards. I think we stayed the same.
Okay.
I don't think it hurt. According to our computer and everything else, the way everything ran down there, I think they did a good job of incorporating all the safety stuff, which we should be doing, and not going backwards with horsepower. So I think they did a great job in a short period of time. That's for sure.
Good. Yeah, that was one of the questions a lot of people were having in Limited Pro was the new turbo rule, and it isn't just in Limited Pro, but Limited Pro is the first one that really had the prop turbo wheel in it, you know, and then it kind of went through the other classes last summer, and they got to figure it out. We're right back where we're at then, right?
Yeah, we Robbie and the guys up there, they rebuilt our crossover pipe to make that the thickness, the wall of that first elbow. They did that, and they checked that down there, and we're all good that way. So, I mean, all the safety stuff they did is going to hopefully prevent something bad happening, but yet I'm pretty confident we didn't go backwards in horsepower. I think we stayed the same.
Okay, good.
I think everyone was kind of thinking that way, but I think that was before really any testing was going on, this and that. So I think everyone should be pretty happy the way their tractor runs with that stuff.
That's good to hear.
Yep.
And, you've got a Weimer turbo on, and Dutton's got a Hart turbo on, and he was right in there with you, so there isn't a big advantage from one to the other.
I personally don't think there's much difference. I think it's just your personal choice and who you want to decide to go with, this and that. So, it's the driver in the seat. It's your tire. It's your setup is the biggest thing, and a little luck. And this parts a person can buy, no matter what it is just your choice. And that's why I'm against the box turbo, because I really truly believe there should be a choice what you want. And if you don't have a choice, it takes away the competitiveness of doing it. So you should have a choice of whose parts you want to use and work with them to make their parts, whether it's a fuel pump or turbo, to make it better. I mean, if you start going everything run the same way, you're going to be just like NASCAR, and that's going to be no fun. And how are you going to have one company, one person build everything? That's not going to happen.
Right. It's not fair to the other company, too, right?
So you're basically you're going to get overworked one company and not enough for another for that certain class. So I'm totally against box turbo pumps, no matter what it is. I think you have to have a choice. Yes, the 4-1 rule is great, but the box thing that's 100% against that.
Right. And I think if everybody's got a box turbo now, you're going to just start pushing the timing to make horsepower.
Yes. So,
who's willing to wreck it?
Yeah. So we need to have choices of parts, suppliers, who we feel comfortable running with and buying from, and that's what makes it competitive too. I mean,
yeah.
And there's more to it, just like your tires. We have how many choices of tires you got,
Right.
You should never outlaw any tires. You should have a choice of what you want to run. As long as everything is legal, you should be able to have a choice.
Right. I was talking to a puller today in Badger State, and he says, I'd give up a few horsepower just to know I had the best set of tires out there anymore.
Tires is huge.
Yep. They've got, when we all used to run Firestones, that's what it was. You just had to spin them as hard as you could. But now tires, you don't know which ones to buy, right?
Right. Until someone comes out with a set and someone tries them, and maybe they'll work good. You don't know, but
right. So. And one set of tires might work great on a soft track, here, and then tomorrow night they're on a different track. They don't work there.
Right.
So and I don't know how many guys can buy a set of tires for every different kind of track.
No.
I think you need 3 different sets of tires and have to guess what the track's going to be tomorrow night.
That's what I said earlier. That's what makes it fun too. How do you adjust to different tracks? You have a really good track. We all know what to do. You put all your weight up front and hammer on it and go. So you get a track maybe that doesn't take as much power. That's what makes a person good, is how you adjust to a track that isn't as good. And that's
right.
That's so important anymore, to be able to
adjust.
You
confident enough to shift up to a bigger gear?
Right.
Yeah.
Are you confident that? And how much weight do you move? Well, we move 1. Well, someone else moves 4, or whatever it is, So.
Right. And you shift up to a bigger gear. Do you need more weight up front because you shouldn't move any weight back because you shift it up?
Right. Do you do one? Do you do both? Or are they both going to offset one another? So that's what makes it fun. And that's why I just think this talk of box parts that should not happen. No way.
I see that too, but I'm just being the devil's. The Outlaws have that, and they have a great show too, though. So what, I'm not promoting box turbos at all, but it does work in places too. I think.
I'm sure it does, but if you ask everyone in our our class, the 401s, I'm almost confident you're gonna get the same answer from everybody.
Yep.
Just
I think
my
you are doing
feelings.
Badger State. And it's like the component thing, that comes up every once in a while too.
Yeah.
But I think we've kind of put that to rest, right?
Right.
We haven't had a lot of breakage in Badger State that we think of. You know what I mean?
If you want to go to if you want to have a different setup in your tractor, there's other classes to go to, and that's why we offer other classes. There's really no reason not to go to the 540 or the Pro Stocks or whatever you want to do. I just don't think you need to change a certain class just because you want a certain type of a tractor. If you want to make changes, go to another class.
Yep. Don't change the class you're in because
No.
probably 80% of the guys or 90% of the guys are happy.
Yep.
Go pull in light pros or the Pro Stock if you want a component tractor.
Yes. Yep.
It's tough. I see the reasons both ways, but I think we have a great class. I mean, you're not breaking.
You don't want to fix what is not broke. I mean, it's worked. We'll be on 15 years of this 4-1 class.
Yep.
And we've it's gone forward, and it'll probably keep going forward. And it's a great show, and there's no reason to mess with it. I mean,
right.
Like I said,
we've moved up. Our Limit Pro has gone 1,000 horse more from the first time we built it and had it at the dyno.
Sure.
To today, it's 1,000 horse more, and we've broken input shaft, but we broke them in Super Farm when it was 1,200 horse too.
Right. That's some of that stuff. Yeah, it will happen, but you can't have a knee jerk reaction of changing everything because something. If you just can't change it because of one or two incidents like that, because that is going to happen. It's parts. It's fatigue. It's metal. It will happen. So.
Right. Even in Pro Stock, they're breaking the input shafts, and the guys say buy a new one, put a new one in every 3 years.
Right.
Every 50 passes, put a new one in.
Yep.
It's $600, but that's money well spent rather than breaking one, right?
Yes. Very. Yeah. Yep. So.
Yep. And there's guys, I feel sorry for the John Deere guys like John Coots and Fredericks have that lighter transmission in. They can't get a Profab in there. Robbie built some pretty good stuff, but it's not as good as having a Profab in there.
Right. Yep.
Well, that's the tractor you chose to run. And in a big block Deere is heavy.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to break the rear end, but it's a heavier tractor. So you have to, you make your choices.
That's my opinion. Whether everyone does or does not agree with it, that's my opinion.
Right. And in the red tractors, you can choose to put a 706 rear end in. It's a little lighter.
Yep.
It's lighter built than a 1066 rear end.
Yes. Yep.
So you choose where you want to be, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And it is. And and guys all understand we talk that way.
Oh, they do. I mean, anyone in our class or Badger State, they understand the situation. They know when they started pulling what tractor they're using, they know what they're doing. I mean, they're all smart at everything. And so, yeah.
Yeah. When you choose your tractor, you look ahead and say, these are the struggles we're going to have with this class. Yep. Yep. So it was fun. It's still fun. Everybody gets along. We had that meeting last year or whatever about blocks in the class and what we should do to change stuff. And I think we did the right thing.
Yeah. That's once again, you opened up choices. You didn't eliminate anything. You was able to give anyone a choice. You don't have to go that route, but you have the opportunity if you want to. Right.
And we had a meeting and talked about it with everybody.
That's the way it should be too. Them rules that get changed, they should be, if it's on a class, the puller should have a say in it, I think, of anything that changes.
Right.
That's what you guys did, and that's the fair way to do it. I mean, if you had a negative thought on it, you had your chance of saying something.
Yep. And it was good. That was one of the better meetings, and all the classes in Badger State do that. They'll get together and say, "Hey guys, this is what's happening. We need to change something."
But you also had all your facts and figures of the tensile strength of everything too to back up what everyone was talking about. So that helps too.
Right. Like the aluminum block, I would have never guessed that the forged aluminum is actually stronger than the cast iron.
No.
I would have never guessed that.
And that's why you have the guys that know, let them talk about it and let them prove why it is. And that's what Chris Feller and Robbie and all them did. So.
Yep. And it was a good meeting.
Yeah.
So, and it was good. We got a good bunch of guys that always talk stuff out.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess I'm good for the evening, Mike. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, I just hope everyone can spend the next week and a half, 10 days, whatever it is, and get tractors put together and get your farming done and go pulling, I guess.
Yep. That's the plan, right?
Yep.
Hope to see everybody in Sauk and in Baraboo the first couple out. Macville's next, and then we're off for a couple weeks. And well, we're not. We have Chopir in there, same weekend as
Toma. Or the weekend after Macville. So we have three in June.
Yep.
Like I said before, there's always somewhere to go if you don't want to. If we don't have something, there's somewhere to go. But that's fun.
Did you want to mention something about Kevin, Greg?
Oh, a long-time pulling fan and a guy that's been on and sent messages into this show many times. He watched it every weekend with us. Kevin Shell, heavy, everybody knows, part of the Tim Deppie crew, passed away Friday night. Had a long time battle with cancer. Fought it well. Did a great guy, and read his obituary. Please go to it's at Redland Funeral Home there. Read his obituary, read all the comments, and you'll know how good a guy that guy was. He was on the board of the WTPA Garden Tractors Association or Wisconsin Garden Tractors Association for many years. Pulled garden tractors with John Stranley. John was going to say something on here with us, but he's had a problem with his internet tonight. But good friend all, and a lot of fun every time you went to an event. This guy made me laugh all the time, and I always look forward to my conversations with him. Really good guy. We're all going to miss him. The big part of tractor pulling and truck pulling in the area, and like I said, was on our show all the time. Yep. So, like Matthew Castor, rest in peace, Heavy. We will see you on the other side. Good guy.
Yep.
So, thanks, Ryan, for reminding me of that, and thanks everybody here. Hopefully, I'm good. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not to want to end on a sad note, but it needed to be said.
No, that was good.
Yep. Good friend.
No, he's always was smiling and happy, and he definitely, even if he didn't know you, he would always joke around with you a little bit. So.
Yep, he did. He was like I said, always had the one-liners to make you laugh. So
yep.
His stories about eating Cheetos in his beanbag were always funny. So, all right, guys.
He's still making you laugh.
Yep, still making me laugh about it. Yep. There's stuff he said I can't say on here.
Yeah.
All fun. Yep. He'll be missed. So, good friends. So, thanks, guys. Mike, thanks for having you on here.
No, thanks for asking me.
Yep. I don't think we'll be having a show next week on Memorial Day Monday because, just everybody's busy and the day off. But we've got a couple. We got one in the can here we're going to make this week for the week after that I think we'll be at Fair Valley Performance, guys, and we'll get a show done for that Monday night. And after that, then it'll be recapping the events for the week for Badger State's events. So,
all right.
Again, thanks for coming on, Mike. Always great having you on here.
No problem. Thank you.
Love your insight on stuff. Love to have you here. So.
Yep. See everyone later.
Thanks, guys. I got to thank our sponsors. This is usually John's job. Front Street Toys, Matt Castor of Slom Enterprises, Ed Casper, Trip Downing, and Eric Wencap Trucking.
Yep.
So I want to thank all them guys for sponsoring and thinking of us. We'll be seeing you guys all this summer. So thanks, Mike.
Yep. See everybody later. Thank you.
Yep. See you later. See you later,
Bye-bye.
Ryan.
See ya.
Bye.